Sometimes, history hides in the palm of your hand. Among the many coins that have captured the hearts of Americans, few carry as much emotion, legacy, and mystery as the 1973 U.S. John F. Kennedy half dollar. It's more than just 50 cents. It's a gleaming reminder of a nation's grief, hope, and pride. But what if that half dollar in your possession isn't just a piece of history, but also a rare collector's treasure? What if a simple 1973 Kennedy half dollar coin could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars, depending on its minting, condition, or hidden error? That's the incredible story behind one of America's most iconic coins, a coin born from tragedy but destined to shine forever. The tale of the Kennedy half dollar begins in 1964, just months after the shocking assassination of President John F. Kennedy in Dallas. In an outpouring of national mourning, Congress authorized the creation of a new coin to honor the fallen leader. Sculptor Gilroy Roberts designed the obverse, featuring Kennedy's noble profile, while Frank Gasparo crafted the reverse, showcasing the presidential seal, an eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing both strength and peace. The coin was released to the public only months later, and it immediately became a cherished symbol of remembrance that BY 1973. The Kennedy half dollar had been circulating for nearly a decade. However, the coins minted that year hold a special fascination among collectors, not just for their beauty, but for their scarcity and the rare errors that slipped through the minting process. In that year, the U.S. Mint produced half dollars at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. But here's where it gets interesting. The 1973 half dollars weren't released into general circulation. That's right. Unlike most other coins, the 1973 Kennedy halves were produced exclusively for collectors in mint sets and proof sets. This decision instantly made them harder to find in everyday change. Most people never even saw a 1973 half dollar, making it an elusive coin from the start. Today, that scarcity alone makes it desirable. But when you add minting errors, the value can skyrocket. Some of the most captivating 1973 Kennedy half dollar errors include double die strikes, off-center strikes, die cracks, and even wrong planchet errors. Each of these flaws tells its own story of how human and mechanical imperfection can create something truly unique. Take, for example, the double die obverse. This occurs when the die that stamps the coin shifts slightly during production, imprinting Kennedy's image or the lettering twice. The result? Subtle doubling that can often be seen in words like "In God We Trust" or "Liberty." Collectors go wild for these, with strong double die examples fetching hundreds to thousands of dollars. Then there are the off-center strikes, coins that were not perfectly aligned during minting. These half dollars look as though their design has been pushed to one side, leaving a blank crescent-shaped area. If the date remains visible, collectors are willing to pay a hefty premium, sometimes several $100s or more, depending on the percentage of the off-center error. Another intriguing type of error found on 1973 Kennedy half dollars is the die crack or die break. This happens when the die begins to fracture due to wear, leaving raised lines or bumps across the coin surface. Some show thin cracks running across Kennedy's portrait, while others display more dramatic raised areas on the reverse around the eagle or lettering. These cracked die varieties are small works of art, each one a frozen moment of minting history. Even rarer are the 1973 Kennedy half dollar struck on the wrong planchet. Occasionally, a planchet intended for a different coin, like a quarter, finds its way into the press. The resulting coin may be smaller, lighter, or a different color. These are the holy grail for error collectors, often selling for thousands of dollars due to their extreme rarity. The San Francisco Mint also produced a limited number of 1973 S-proof coins, specially struck with polished dies and mirror-like surfaces for collectors. These proofs are beautiful, with stunning shine and detail. But even among proofs, errors exist. Some 1973 S-proofs were discovered with missing layers, haze, or doubling on the inscriptions. When certified by professional grading services like PeaceGS or NGC, these flawed proofs can command premium prices far beyond their face value. What makes the 1973 Kennedy half dollar even more fascinating is its composition. By this time, the coin was no longer made of silver. The U.S. Mint had transitioned to a copper-nickel clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel. This change was made after 1970 to reduce costs, but also means that any 1973 half dollar found with an unusual color, weight, while metallic tone immediately raises eyebrows. There have even been reports of 1973 D. Kennedy has mistakenly struck on leftover silver planchets from earlier years. If verified, such a coin would be worth a small fortune. For collectors, the thrill is in both the chase and the story. The 1973 half-dollar represents a moment in time when the nation was healing, when the image of President Kennedy still inspired unity and hope. It's not just a coin. It's a piece of American emotion cast in metal. And for those who search tirelessly through mint sets or old collections, finding an error from that year feels like uncovering a hidden message from history. Auction records tell some incredible stories. In recent years, a 1973 S-proof Kennedy half-dollar with a dramatic double die reverse sold for more than $2,500. Another example, a 1973 D off-center strike showing nearly 40% of the blank planchet brought in over $1,800. Even more astonishingly, a few extremely rare 1973 half-dollar struck on silver planchets have fetched prices exceeding $10,000. These figures turn an already historic coin into a modern treasure. But beyond their market value, these coins hold a deeper allure. The Kennedy half-dollar is, at its heart, a symbol of optimism, leadership, and courage. It reminds collectors not just of a president, but of a moment when America came together to honor its fallen hero. Each coin, even with its flaws, carries that enduring legacy. And that's what makes the 1973 half-dollar so special. It's not only about perfection. It's about how imperfection can make something even more meaningful. Those die cracks, off-center strikes, and double images tell us that beauty often lies in the unexpected. Every error coin is one of a kind, a small piece of metal that accidentally became a masterpiece. For modern collectors and beginners alike, the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar is a coin worth hunting for. Whether you find one in an old coin set, inherit it from a family member, or stumble across one at a flea market, it's worth taking a closer look. A magnifying glass and good lighting can reveal the secrets that make these coins valuable. Tiny doubling, cracks, or unusual surfaces that might otherwise go unnoticed. Even today, coin enthusiasts scour rolls, proof sets, and estate collections, hoping to uncover one of these elusive 1973 errors. And who can blame them? The idea that a 50-cent coin could be worth thousands is thrilling. But it's more than that. It's about being part of a continuing story, a story that began with tragedy, turned into tribute, and evolved into a treasure hunt spanning generations. The Kennedy half-dollar continues to be minted to this day, yet those early issues, especially the 1973 editions, remain among the most beloved and mysterious. They stand as symbols of craftsmanship, memory, and the unpredictability of minting. Every collector who holds one can feel that connection to a time, a man, and a nation that refused to forget that. The next time you come across a 1973 U.S. Kennedy half-dollar, take a moment to appreciate it. Run your fingers over the smooth edge, admire the proud profile of President Kennedy, and remember that you're holding more than just a coin. You're holding a piece of America's soul, one that might just have a secret worth far more than 50 cents. Maybe your 1973 half-dollar has a small crack, a doubled letter, or a strange shine you've never noticed before. Maybe it's an error coin waiting to be discovered, a treasure hiding in plain sight. Whether worth 50 cents or $5,000, it's a reminder that history, legacy, and luck often come together in the most unexpected places. And sometimes they fit perfectly in the palm of your hand. The 1776 to 1976 U.S. John F. Kennedy half-dollar is one such coin, a masterpiece that celebrates 2 centuries of American independence and honors one of the nation's most beloved presidents. It's a coin that has fascinated collectors for decades, not only for its beauty and historical meaning, but also for the rare errors and variations that make certain pieces worth far more than their 50-cent face value. Beneath its gleaming surface lies a tale of patriotism, craftsmanship, and unexpected treasures waiting to be discovered. Now let's travel back to 1976, a monumental year in U.S. history, the nation's bicentennial. America was celebrating 200 years of freedom since the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 1776. To mark this extraordinary occasion, the U.S. Mint decided to do something special. They redesigned several of the country's circulating coins, the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar, to carry dual dates, 1776 to 1976, symbolizing 2 centuries of independence. But among these coins, none captured the spirit of that moment quite like the Kennedy half-dollar. The design of this bicentennial half-dollar was breathtaking. On the obverse side, it continued to feature the familiar portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. Kennedy's face, full of confidence and youthful determination, had graced the coin since 1964, following his tragic assassination. But it was the reverse, the back of the coin, that made the 1776 to 1976 version truly unique. Designed by Seth G. Huntington, it depicts Independence Hall in Philadelphia, the birthplace of the Declaration of Independence, framed by the inscriptions United States of America and half-dollar. Beneath the grand building are the words 200 Years of Freedom. The dual date, 1776 to 1976, proudly marks the nation's 200-year milestone. From the very moment it was released, the Kennedy bicentennial half-dollar became a symbol of pride and nostalgia. It wasn't just another coin. It was a celebration of America's enduring legacy and a tribute to a president who embodied its ideals. Millions of Americans save these coins as keepsakes, tucking them away in drawers, albums, and jewelry boxes. Yet, as with any large-scale minting, not all coins came out perfectly. And those imperfections, the rare errors, would go on to make certain 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollars far more valuable than anyone could have imagined. The U.S. Mint produced the bicentennial half-dollar in several versions, including circulation strikes from Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, D mint mark, and special collector edition from San Francisco, S mint mark. Some of the San Francisco coins were struck in a special 40% silver composition, while others were clad in copper nickel. The silver versions, particularly the proofs, are among the most sought after today, especially in pristine condition or with striking errors. One of the most talked about 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar errors is the double die variety. This happens when the coin die shifts slightly during production, imprinting part of the design twice. You can often spot it in the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," or in the date 1776 to 1976. The doubling gives the letters a ghostly, shadowed effect. Strong examples of this error can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on their clarity and grade. Another exciting discovery is the off-center strike error. These coins were not perfectly aligned in the press when struck, leaving a portion of the design missing and a blank crescent along the rim. If the dual date, 1776 to 1976, remains visible, collectors will pay a premium for these mistakes. Depending on the degree of misalignment, such coins have sold for anywhere between $200 and $500. Then there's the wrong planchet error, one of the rarest and most thrilling finds for any collector. Occasionally, a blank metal disc meant for a different denomination, like a quarter or dollar, ended up being used for a Kennedy half-dollar. The resulting coin is smaller, lighter, or sometimes even a different color. Imagine finding a 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar struck on a quarter planchet or on silver when it was supposed to be clad. That kind of error can command prices upwards of $5,000 to $10,000 or more at auction. Collectors have also reported die cracks and die breaks, where small fractures in the die leave raised lines or bulges across the coin surface. Some appear like lightning bolts streaking across Kennedy's portrait, while others form curious raised lumps on Independence Hall. These unique marks are like signatures of the minting process. No two are exactly alike. A well-placed die crack can make a coin worth significantly more to collectors, turning an ordinary bicentennial half into a one-of-a-kind treasure. Even more intriguing are the proof errors from the San Francisco Mint. Proof coins are struck multiple times using polished dies to achieve mirror-like surfaces and frosted details. But sometimes things don't go as planned. A proof coin might be struck with incomplete frosting, missing layers, or misaligned dies. A few 1776, 1976 silver proofs have been discovered with missing mint marks, or unusual color toning caused by chemical reactions over time. Such pieces are highly prized, often fetching thousands at auction. The silver-clad bicentennial halves, those struck with 40% silver, have always carried a special allure. Their beautiful luster, combined with their historical design, makes them favorites among collectors. And when a silver version also carries a minting error, its value multiplies dramatically. One particularly famous example, a 1976 S40% silver half-dollar with a strong double die obverse, sold for nearly $6,000 in a professional auction, proving that even a 50-cent coin can hold a small fortune. But beyond the technicalities, what makes the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar truly special is its story. This coin wasn't just a piece of currency. It was a celebration of two American icons, the birth of a nation and the enduring legacy of John F. Kennedy. It blended two eras of American pride, 1776, when the United States was born, and 1976, when it stood as a global symbol of democracy and resilience. Holding this coin feels like holding 2 centuries of history in the palm of your hand. For many Americans, these coins evoke personal memories of the bicentennial celebrations, parades, fireworks, patriotic songs, and red, white, and blue decorations filling the streets. Children back then collected them from banks or received them as gifts from parents and grandparents, tucking them away as keepsakes of a once-in-a-lifetime national celebration. Today, those same coins, especially the rare or error varieties, carry not just monetary value but emotional significance, a tangible connection to America's proudest moment. Collectors who specialize in Kennedy half-dollars often refer to the 1776 to 1976 edition as the crown jewel of the modern series. Its combination of beauty, history, and variety makes it irresistible. And with modern technology and grading services like PCGS and NGC certifying error coins, the excitement has only grown. High-grade examples with mint errors, particularly those in uncirculated or proof condition, are commanding impressive prices and continuing to rise in value. Oh, how can you tell if your 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar is something special? Start by checking the mint mark. It will appear just below Kennedy's neck on the obverse. The D indicates Denver, S for San Francisco, and no mark for Philadelphia. If your coin is silver, it will have a distinct, brighter luster and weigh around 11.5 grams instead of the 11.3 grams of copper-nickel clad versions. Look closely under magnification for doubling, cracks, or off-center features. Even small irregularities can be worth investigating. Many collectors still dream of finding the perfect combination, a 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar with a visible mint error, in pristine condition, and made of silver. Such a coin is not only a collector's delight, but also a reminder that even small pieces of history can hold immense power and value. The 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar stands as one of the most beloved American coins ever minted. It tells a story of freedom, resilience, and remembrance. It celebrates both the founding of a nation and the legacy of a president who believed in the promise of America's future. Every detail, from the proud eagle on earlier versions to the stately Independence Hall on this bicentennial issue, speaks of a nation's journey from its birth to its bicentennial and beyond. The next time you come across a Kennedy half-dollar dated 1776 to 1976, take a closer look. It might be more than just spare change. It could be a rare error coin worth far more than 50 cents. Or perhaps, even more importantly, it could be a small piece of history whispering the story of America's 200 years of freedom. Every coin tells a story, but few do it as powerfully as the Kennedy half-dollar. Among the shining pieces that have carried President John F. Kennedy's enduring legacy through the decades, the 1998 D. Kennedy half-dollar stands as a special chapter in American numismatic history. It might seem like just another coin at first glance, but when you look closer at its craftsmanship, its minting quirks, and the stories collectors whisper about, you begin to realize that this coin is more than metal. It's a tribute, a memory, and sometimes a hidden fortune waiting to be discovered. The Kennedy half-dollar has always carried emotional weight. Born in 1964, just months after the shocking assassination of President Kennedy, this coin was designed to immortalize the young leader whose charisma, hope, and vision inspired a generation. Americans embraced it instantly. People hoarded them, refusing to spend them because they weren't just coins. They were mementos of a president whose life ended too soon. And as the years passed, the Kennedy half dollar became not only a collector's favorite, but a powerful symbol of American pride and remembrance. Fast forward to 1998. America was nearing the dawn of a new millennium. Technology was booming, and the U.S. Mint continued producing the Kennedy half dollar. By now a classic, still featuring the proud and youthful face of JFK, designed by Gilroy Roberts. The reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, depicted the presidential seal, a heraldic eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, surrounded by stars. It was bold, patriotic, and instantly recognizable. But for the 1998 D half dollar, minted in Denver, something extraordinary happened, something that would capture the attention of collectors for decades to come. The 1998 D Kennedy half dollar might seem like an ordinary issue, but for sharp-eyed collectors, it's a treasure hunt full of surprises. Among the millions struck that year, a handful emerged with remarkable minting errors and varieties, small imperfections that transformed them from 50-cent coins into valuable collector's items. These rare mistakes are the hidden gems that make the 1998 D Kennedy half dollar one of the most talked about coins from the 1990s. One of the most desirable varieties is the double die obverse error. On these coins, parts of the inscriptions, especially Liberty and In God We Trust, appear slightly doubled, as if they were shadowed. This doubling happens when the die that strikes the coin shifts ever so slightly between strikes, creating that distinctive doubled image. Under magnification, it's unmistakable and thrilling to find. Collectors who discover a strong double die example can expect to see values jump from face value to hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on condition. Another rare find is the off-center strike error, where the coin was not properly aligned in the press during minting. This results in part of the design missing and a blank crescent appearing on one edge, when the date and Kennedy's portrait are still visible. Such coins become highly collectible. Depending on the degree of misalignment, some off-center 1998 D Kennedy halves have sold for between $200 and $1,000 at auctions. The die crack and die clash errors also give this coin added intrigue. A die crack occurs when the die begins to fracture from pressure during the minting process, leaving raised lines or small bumps on the coin surface. On some 1998 D half dollars, you can find cracks running through Kennedy's hair or along the rim. A fascinating detail for collectors who love coins with unique characteristics. Die clashes, on the other hand, happen when the two dies strike each other without a planchet between them, transferring part of each design onto the opposite die. The result? Ghostly outlines of the eagle appearing faintly on the obverse, or hints of Kennedy's features showing on the reverse. Errors that create beautiful accidents of history. Then there's one of the most exciting errors in the entire Kennedy half dollar series, the wrong planchet error. Sometimes a blank mint for a smaller coin, like a quarter, ends up being used to strike a half dollar. The resulting coin is undersized, lighter, and missing parts of the design. These are incredibly rare and valuable. A confirmed 1998 D Kennedy half dollar struck on a quarter planchet can command thousands of dollars, depending on its condition and clarity. Collectors also love the proof-like and satin finish examples that occasionally appear among the Denver minted coins. These pieces have unusually strong luster or a silky matte appearance, similar to special mint set coins. While not official errors, they stand out beautifully and are highly desirable in the world of coin collecting. But perhaps what makes the 1998 D Kennedy half dollar so memorable is its place in time. This was one of the last regular issue half dollars minted in significant quantities for circulation. By the late 1990s, the coin was rarely seen in daily transactions. People weren't spending them anymore. Most Kennedy have went straight to collectors, banks, or coin rolls tucked away in drawers. The coin had become more of a collectible than a tool for commerce. There's also a fascinating connection between the 1998 D half dollar and one of the most famous modern minting events, the release of the 1998 S matte finish Kennedy half dollar, included in the two coin Kennedy collectors set along with a silver Robert F. Kennedy commemorative dollar. This special edition had a unique satin finish and extremely limited mintage, instantly making it a prized item among collectors. Because of this, 1998 became a milestone year for Kennedy halves, marking the transition from a widely circulated coin to a collector's treasure. What makes the Denver minted version stand out even more is its incredible strike quality. The Denver Mint, known for its precision, produced sharp, detailed coins with deep, clean reliefs in Kennedy's hair and the eagle's feathers. Yet, even with such quality, the occasional minting error slipped through, reminders that even machines can't achieve perfection. And it's those small imperfections that drive collectors wild. If you hold a 1998 D. Kennedy half dollar in your hand today, take a moment to admire its craftsmanship. The fine details in Kennedy's portrait, the hair strands, the crisp lettering, the powerful gaze, still reflect the artistry that went into its creation. Flip it over, and the eagle's outstretched wings radiate strength and unity. Every element of this coin speaks of America's identity, its leadership, resilience, and pride. Now imagine finding one with an error, a double die, an off-center strike, or a wrong planchet. What was once just a 50-cent piece could be worth hundreds, even thousands, depending on the rarity and condition. That's the beauty of coin collecting. Hidden treasures are everywhere, waiting to be found by those who look closely enough. The 1998 D. Kennedy half dollar also holds a special emotional appeal. For many, it symbolizes the closing of one century and the approach of another, a bridge between America's past and its future. It reminds older generations of the 1960s of Kennedy's voice echoing with hope and challenge. Ask not what your country can do for you. And it introduces younger collectors to a timeless legacy cast in metal that in pristine condition, graded MS 67 or higher by PCGS or NGC. A 1998 D. Kennedy half dollar can fetch impressive sums at auction. Add in a mint error and the value skyrockets. Some rare varieties have been known to sell for over $3,000, especially if they exhibit sharp doubling or off-center designs. Even high-grade examples without errors are sought after, particularly in rolls or sets, since they represent some of the last high-quality strikes of the 20th century. Collectors often say that every Kennedy half tells its own story, and they're right. The 1998 D version carries with it the weight of history, artistry, and American pride. It marks the continuation of a design that has endured for over half a century and continues to inspire fascination today to S.O. The next time you come across a Kennedy half dollar from 1998 with that small D mint mark beneath Kennedy's neck, don't overlook it. Examine it carefully. Tilt it under light. Look for subtle doubling, off-center edges, or small cracks that tell a story of minting imperfection. Because you never know, you might just be holding a rare treasure, a piece of modern American history worth far more than 50 cents. The 1998 D. Kennedy half dollar isn't just a coin, it's a legacy in your palm. It's a reflection of the past, a symbol of a nation's pride, and a tribute to a president whose ideals continue to shine through time. From a moment it left the Denver Mint to wherever it rests today, this coin carries with it a silent message that even in the smallest pieces of metal, the American story endures. And for those who look closely enough, that story can still gleam with the light of discovery, history, and hope.